What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD interview. Every single week we interview top entrepreneurs and just straight up top badasses, you guys out there dominating their space that are choosing to not live a small life, right? And choosing to not live within mediocrity, but choosing to go out there and create epic things for themselves and their family. So today, you guys, I got an amazing guest on, a buddy of mine. This is a dude that's out there kicking ass in his business, doing big things. So really stoked and honored to have Aaron Wittenstein on the show. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, what's going on, man? Thank you so much for having me out here. I swear, you are one of the few people that I think has more energy than I do. This is going to be intense. We're just going to we're going to be like coffee all over the place.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. Well, we were talking before the show started about energy and the importance of energy management just in your life and your business. And I think it's something that people don't, focus on. But dude, it's so ungodly massive, bro.
Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, I've gotten enough listings where people just said, I remember I got one listing. I asked her, I met with her at 9 o'clock at night. She's like, why did you give me the listing? I'm just curious. She's like, I've never met anybody that late at night with that much energy. I'm like, all right, boom, I got it. So,
yeah, I love it, man. So, I know today, man, you've got a very successful real estate business. You've got a very successful private Facebook group that you started with thousands and thousands of members. You have thousands of people that watch you every single day, doing a lot of your lead generation. But before we get into what you're doing today, dude, let's rewind the clocks, man. I'm really interested in your journey on how you got started in entrepreneurship in the first place. So run it back, high school, college, whatever that looks like what led you to this journey?
Well, it started when I was 7 years old with my first lemonade stand. And I had competition with my my buddy's brother down the street. So we had to they tried to undercut us, but then we started adding pretzels and baseball cards onto it. So that's where it started. Then I started selling baseball cards. Then I did telemarketing starting at 15 years old. I did telemarketing from 15 until 19. I got fired from a telemarketing job for cheating on hours. And then at 19 years old, my mom was working part-time for a real estate agent. And I started doing cold calling at 19, calling apartments for rent in Illinois. That's where I started. And then I got licensed at 21. I sold real estate in Illinois for about 12 years. And I did like a decent business out there, but I don't know. I mean, you've got a family, so you know how it is. When you have a family, you work a hell of a lot harder, right?
Yeah. I
was a single guy. So, I mean, I go make $150,000. It's no sweat off my back whatsoever. That was until January, when was it? Like 2000, my wife's going to kill me because you're not going to remember this, 2008 or 2009. It was January or Sunday where I met her at a stand-up. I used to do stand-up comedy. So that's where I met my wife. About a year and a half later, we were married. We got pregnant. I didn't have a big family out in Illinois, so we decided to move to New York. So in January 25th of 2013, I re-upped my business from Chicago to Westchester County, New York. No sphere, no database. I really started putting things into play in November of 2013, and I went from 0 to almost 15 million in my first 2.5 years selling real estate. So all on Expired.
Yeah, I love that, dude. Okay, so you're hitting expireds, right? So well, let's go through that, what that journey is like, because essentially you're starting over. And whether people, I mean, we hear a lot of real estate agents that do that. I get reached out on the podcast a lot of, hey, I grew up here, but now we're moving 2,000 miles away. What would you recommend to rebuild? What was that like, man? I mean, how did you go out there starting from scratch in an area that nobody? Like day one, what do you start doing to go out there and building your brand and getting business going?
It was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, because basically what happened is my in-laws told me, you move here, we're going to help you out, we're going to take care of you guys, we're going to do all this stuff, yada, yada, yada. A bunch of empty, what do they say, false promises is what happened. So put it this way, I started off, I'm living in my in-laws' basement, okay? My wife and I walked away from a combined roughly $400,000 in income to nothing, all right? So absolutely nothing. So it was one of those points where it was April of 2013 that I was ready to leave. It was really, really tough. I mean, I never thought I would be 32 years old, living in my in-laws' basement with the 4-year-old. He would have been 2 at the time. It was really tough. I was planning on leaving. And when everything kind of hits you right, and I was at a training, I got sick. It was long story, but everything kind of hit me right. And I kind of changed my mindset around. And I think it's so powerful about your mindset, because I envisioned myself being where I want to be, because you live in the future. People spend so much time living in the past. You have to live in the present and live in the future. So the thing is, I knew where I wanted to be. I knew where I wanted to go. I rearranged my entire schedule, worked at very high level, set my goals. And the cool part is, I mean, with everything that I've done, I mean, I've had an interesting time. I mean, last year we had twins, so I didn't sleep much. I work from I work real estate 8 o'clock to 4 every day. I haven't worked a Sunday in 3 years since I moved here. So my real estate business is done between the hours of 8 and 4, and I don't work Sundays. I shut my phone off. I have a life on top of it. I work other businesses. So it's hard work and dedication is the best thing I could tell you.
Now, was the 8 to 4, dude, did that exist when you were first getting everything started in New York? Or was it literally 24/7 until you got to a point where you could get away with 8 to 4?
No, the one thing I always said is I'm never going to sacrifice my family for my business, because it's what's the point of having a shit ton of money? Am I allowed to swear? I'm allowed to swear on this thing, right? All right, cool. All right, that's what I figured. So, it's one of those things. What's the point of having a shit ton of money if you don't have the time to spend with your family? So my thing is that people, I remember I was teaching a class the other day and someone asked me, what's your biggest success? My biggest success is that I'm home every night by 5 o'clock to put my kids to bed. And they don't go to bed till like 7, but I haven't missed that. And that's the one thing that I'm most proud of, because between those hours, I mean, I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I know you wake up at what? You wake up at like freaking 1 o'clock in the morning, don't you? Yeah, so I got an hour to beat you, but I mean, I'm in bed by like 10. I wake up at 4. I get a lot of shit done between the hours of 4 and 6. I exercise, but nothing even close to you. But, I exercise, and then I'm in the office by 7:30 in the morning, and I start my real estate work at 8 o'clock every morning. I do my lead generation from 8 to 11. I do any administrative work. That's pretty much something you can hire someone else to do for you between 11 and 1. I run appointments between 1 and 4 o'clock, and then if I got other stuff to do, I do it between 4 and 5, and I'm home every day by 5:30.
Yeah. So as you're building this out, dude, let's say you got a listing appointment, because I'm sure at this point you have somewhat of a team or other people that you delegate some of these listings to if they fall outside that box. But if you have somebody, hey, the only time they can meet 6 o'clock at night.
It's not possible.
Okay.
Because here's what I say, and keep in mind, I had a team, but I broke my entire team down. I had a team of 8 of us as of February. I'm sorry, what are we in? It was as of April. I broke my entire team down, so it's me, and I got about 3 virtual people right now. So I'm rebuilding. I'm like the phoenix rising from the ashes. But I would say, Josh, so let me ask you this. When's the best time for us to get together, late morning, early afternoon, or Saturday?
6 o'clock in the evening this Friday is the best time for me to meet.
Gotcha. Well, here's the thing. Honestly, no one ever really answers it that way because I give you 1 of 3. So, Josh, let me ask you again. What works best for you, late morning, early afternoon, or Saturday? The reason I say Saturday is all evening appointments get pushed to Saturday. So what I'll say is 6 o'clock on Friday, that's actually not going to work, but I want to get out there. I have some availability at 9 or 11 on Saturday. What will work better for you?
Yeah. Saturday.
Yeah, you always get an answer. So the thing is, because I love doing scripts and all this stuff, the thing is, if you want to make your schedule around you, once you start respecting your schedule and you time block it properly, everybody else respects it as well.
Yeah. Yep, love it, man, love it. So, dude, and I mean, it's been a little while since I've been on a listing presentation personally. My team handles that now, but dude, I used to always do them before people would go to work. I do 6 a.m. Listing appointments all the time. People are fresh. I bring breakfast. I'm like, I'll bring the coffee and bring the bagels, and let's meet, man. And I would kill it at it.
I like that idea, because the thing is, by 6, 7 o'clock at night, I'm like, you guys got the day just beat your ass. Do you really want to be meeting with me when you're tired, you got yelling kids, and you want to eat dinner? No one wants it. Part of the reason I stopped doing listing consultations in the evening is because I suck at them in the evening. I'm done. I want to be home. I don't want to sit there and have to sell people at 6 or 7 o'clock at night. It doesn't work for my schedule.
Yeah. So okay. So let's go into this, man. I mean, you built your business off of expireds. You continue doing big things off of expireds. I mean, where do you number one? Where do you get the information from? And then what does that look like? Like, what do your opening scripts look like?
Sure. I get all my data from Vulcan 7 and Seize the Market. So I actually use data from like 3 different sources. I use Vulcan 7, Seize the Market, and some land voice data for old expireds, and they all go into my Seize the Market account. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's awesome. Seize the Market is a killer program. What they do, it's a database that talks directly to the dialer, especially you with ISAs. The dialer talks to the database. It's got a front end, back end. It's pretty much, you name a product, it's everything that combines. And I have no ownership stake in this company whatsoever. But here's the thing is, all right, so I call you on an expired. I'm like, hi, I'm looking for the owner of 123 Smith Street.
Yep.
Oh, hi, my name is Aaron. I'm probably at this point in the morning the third or fourth agent to call you to let you know your home came off the market. I'm just curious, how on earth did your house not sell?
We don't really know. We think it's a beautiful home, and we don't really know why it didn't sell.
Really? Well, I mean, if you had to pinpoint something, I mean, really, how do you think it didn't sell if you had to pinpoint something?
I guess we probably feel the agent didn't market it correctly.
Gotcha. No, I totally understand. What my team does, we actually specialize in helping families just like yours. Last year, we held 36 families, which is about 80% of our business, that had their homes on the market for as long as 1,039 days, go to contract in an average of 29. How can I help you?
Well, I mean, we definitely want to sell. We want to get the amount of equity that we need out of the property. We want to get a certain dollar amount, but we definitely
Sure.
love to sell.
Sure. I'd love to stop by and have a conversation. What works better for you, late morning, early afternoon, or Saturday?
Yeah, boom. There you go.
Right there. That's it. That's my script. The reason I started using that one is when I asked you how on earth did your house not sell, you can tweak the word around and make it based on somebody's personality type, but it's an open-ended question that it's a pattern interrupter. No one has any idea what to say when you do that.
Yep. Yep. So, and I don't know if you've found this true in your business, but I've heard a lot of statistics out there that say, 90% of expireds wait for 3 months before they relist. They still have a goal of selling, but they're sick and tired of maybe making their beds every day, cleaning their homes up every day. What is the follow-up? I mean, what percentage are you popping right up front? What do those numbers look like? And then, from there, what's the follow-up process for that vast majority that want a little bit of a breathing, time frame before they relist?
Yeah, I mean, if I look at my listings right now, I've got like 19 or 20 active listings. Out of the ones that are expired are probably 15 of the 19. 13 of those are old expireds. What I consider being an old expired, it's something that's expired longer than 3 months. So very rarely, you get the slam dunks by just doing the activity, but those don't happen. The follow-up is pretty much, once we speak and you tell me, okay, so when do you want me to call you back? I just cut that time in half and I just keep calling and calling and calling and calling. And whenever they tell me to call, I call them. It's really not rocket science at all. I don't do any mailings. I send them an email out with my pre-listing package and my 150-point marketing plan. But other than that, it's just all phone call follow-up.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, what percentage, just to give people
Yeah.
our listener base, because I mean, 85% of our listeners right now are in the real estate industry, right?
Yeah.
People get so discouraged. They're like, holy shit, man, I just called 100 expireds. I had, 30 of those pick up their phone. 19 of them told me to F off. Like, they get so discouraged and they don't keep pushing with this. So, like,
Yeah.
what is the percentage? Just so people understand the numbers and what to expect and so they don't get this discouraged. What is like the now business from it? And then what's the percentage of down the road? And then what's the average length of time?
I want to say, I mean, now business, 10, 15%. You're not going for the now, you're going for the later. If you want to get the now, you will not get the now. You can't have that mindset. You're going to see the work 90 days from now because you're following up and following up. Keep in mind, these people, their home just came off the market. No agent sold their house. They're freaking livid because they're like, okay, no one sold my house. Now I got 300 agents calling me. So you got to give them a break. But the thing is, if you're expecting now results, it's not going to work. I've been calling expireds every day, 3 hours a day for 2.5 years. Okay. And now I'm actually, like yesterday, I had an expired that said, call. He's like, come list my house. House was off the market 1.5 years ago. So if you're not willing to do the follow-up and you're not going to do the follow-up, you may as well just quit because it's not worth your time.
Yep. Couldn't agree, man. Fortune in the fall, dude. So if you had to pick, like if you had okay, here's your one list, dude. You get one list that you can call in, but you can only choose this one list from expired. So whether it's like day 1, day 90, 6 months, but you only get one choice. Where's the goal, dude?
Oh man, here's what I'm going to say is I want the brand new ones before anybody calls them. I want to get here and call before, because what's going to happen is if you're not the first one in on the expired, you may as well be the last ones. So no matter what, if I'm one of the first 2 people to call, I can have a pleasant conversation with them. If they list now, I'm all over it, but otherwise I'm going to build my database. So if we're looking at sheer, in my opinion, quality, the brand new ones, but if we're looking for mass, I want to call expireds that are like a year out. Because they wanted to sell, and as long as they haven't sold yet, there's an opportunity. And it's like, hell, I mean, we started calling back from 2008 on some expireds. What was the market like in 2008?
Right.
So it's like we go back. I got expireds back to 2008 that we're calling. I got 25,000 expireds in my database.
Yeah. Love it, man. So did you do expireds at all when you were in Chicago, or is this just something you're like, man, did you rely on what your sphere of influence out there, your connections, or I mean, what were you doing to build your business out there?
Pretty much, I really just did it haphazardly. I was predominantly buyer based. I was probably 80, 90, 10 buyer heavy. Now 100% sellers. Honestly, I'm not proud of the lack of business that I built in Chicago. But the way that I look at it is I was single and I didn't care. I really didn't care. And now I do. And it's amazing what a family does for you.
So what was that turning point though, dude? Like what made you then move to New York and decide, hey man, I'm gonna do 180. I'm gonna switch my business, go seller base, and attack expireds.
I'll give you 3 guesses on what made me move to New York.
Well,
3 guesses.
Well, you already mentioned it, right? I mean,
Yeah, it's my wife. It's my wife. The shit we do for the women we love. So for me, I think the cool part was I got very stagnant in Illinois. And it was really nice to move to a new area because people look at it, if they move to a new area, it'd almost be like a negative. But the thing is, I moved into a brand new area where my price range was double with absolutely no preconceived notions. So it was a really cool opportunity to just start building from scratch with 11 years, in my opinion, worth of wasted knowledge. So now I took that, I flipped it around, and I realized that I want to have a life that I want. And I heard something. It was Russell Shaw, I think. He was one of the guys interviewed for Millionaire Real Estate Agent. I remember hearing something about him shifting his real estate career to 100% seller-based business. So that's what I did. Because you can control your time when you're working with sellers. I can sell 17 listings while I'm on vacation. I can't sell a buyer while I'm on vacation.
Yep, love it, man. Yeah, Russell's a good buddy of mine. He's in the marketplace, and he's been on the podcast. And he's like, dude, I failed the first 12 years of my career, almost to the point where he was getting ready to quit and leave. And then at that point, that transition point was turning his business into a listing-based business, and now he's been a top producer for 36 years straight. So it becomes massive, dude. So okay, so back to your expireds, man, because such a small percentage. Number one, answer their phone. Number two, you're able to have a conversation with them and get that listing today. What does it look like? What is your follow-up protocol if you're getting their voicemail? What does that look like? I mean, are you putting in, because like Vulcan, Espresso, I use Espresso Agent, owned by the same company. We get email addresses on most of these. Like, what are you doing to follow up with them if they're not answering?
Well, I have 2 ISAs in Nicaragua that are calling for me right now. So what it goes like is I call the new expireds when they first come up. That's what I do. Then they contact, the only thing that they do is they call expireds for 30 days. So we call brand new expireds we call the last 30 days of expireds 3 times a day for 30 days.
3 times a day?
3 times a day for 30 days. We call them once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and once in the early evening. I figure if they're not going to answer in 30 days, we probably don't have a shot in hell of ever catching up with them.
Yep. So, and then nothing with the emails, no type of drip marketing.
I honestly, I haven't done anything because I haven't found anything that I've gotten a decent return back rate yet. And what we do well is we do phone calls well. So I just call and call and call. And my rule is I call them until they buy, die, or tell me to fuck off. And if they tell me to fuck off, I'll call them back in a month because they won't remember. So
yeah, I love that, dude. All right, man. So let's say you have a conversation with them. They're like, nah, man, you're the 9-year-old that's called me. Quit. No, not ready right now. What does that look like from there?
So you're not looking to sell now, or you're not looking to sell ever?
And that's the question that you're asking them. Right? Well, I'm sure at some point I'll be looking at selling, but I'm not interested right now.
Sure, fair enough. What kind of time frame are you thinking? Because I don't want to bother you.
I don't know, man. We really wanted to move in the next 6 months, but now we're reevaluating that.
Okay, gotcha. So let me ask you this. If you could move still in the next 6 months, would that work for you?
Possibly, man, but we're just really burnt out of the process and sick and tired of talking to realtors right now, and we don't know what we're going to do.
Okay, how does this sound? How about I give you a shot back in a month? Is that fair? Catch up with you when it'll die down a little bit?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, cool. What I'll do is I'll give you a shot back in a month. What I want to do is I just want to send you over some information just in case there's anything I can do for you in the meantime. What's the best email address for you?
Josh@gsdmode.com.
Exactly. So what I'm going to do, and this is your cell I got, John?
Yep.
Okay, great. I'm going to shoot you over my 150-point marketing plan and my pre-listing package. Take a look at that. If you have any questions in the meantime, call me. If not, I'll give you a shot in a month, okay?
Sounds good, man.
Great. It was nice talking to you. Have a good one.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, no, I like it, man. I like the brevity. I like that you keep it brief, dude. Quick question on so then do you honor your word and keep it a month, or do you condense that time?
No, if it's a month, like if they said 6 months, I'm going to call them in a month. Whatever, so that's what I say. And then the thing is, I'll call them in a month, and I'll just catch you, be like, hey, Josh, it's Aaron Wittenstein over at Keller Williams Real Estate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good, brother.
Excellent, excellent. I was just calling. I know we spoke previously about 123 Smith Street. What are your plans?
Yeah, we're still unsure, man. We're still lacking that clarity.
No worries. Is it something you're I remember before you mentioned you're looking to do something in 6 months, which would be 5 months from now. Is that still your plan?
Potentially.
Okay, gotcha. So, I mean, right now, would it be worthwhile for me to stop by and sit down and have a conversation with you guys?
Man, I don't think so. We got a lot going on right now, man.
Okay, sure. So how about I give you a shout back in another month? Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds fair.
Great. Okay, once again, did you get the information that I sent you out?
Yeah, I did. I just haven't had a moment to look at it.
No worries. Take your time. I'll give you a shout back in a month. And then it's pretty much rinse and repeat until they say yes.
Okay. Perfect, dude. So, what do you do then? Because you've got all these listings. You got 19 listings, right? You probably have some online buyer leads coming in. Probably get some sign calls coming in. What are you doing with those? I mean, is it just one where they're not getting attention, or what are you doing with them?
I let go of my buyer's agent. So right now I've got 2 affiliate buyer's agents is what I call them. And I just refer them out all the business and they give me 35% and I don't have to do anything with it.
Okay.
So I'm referring it out to them. I'm currently looking at 2 people right now to bring somebody on, but I got to hire an operations manager first before I do that. So they're good. The one guy I just brought in as my affiliate buyer's agent, he just got 2 accepted offers the other day. So
yeah, I love it, man.
Yeah.
So, you had this team. You recently dissolved the team, and obviously you must have dissolved it for a reason. One thing so many people talk about is their successes, but not necessarily those learning experiences, those failures that we go through. What was the reason that you dissolved it, man? And now that you're rebuilding it, or looking to rebuild it, what were some of those things that you've learned that you're going to implement as you rebuild?
Well, I mean, I think what happened last year was, we had the twins, it was the day after Valentine's Day, February 15th. So I made the ingenious idea of building a team while I was half asleep. All right. And the thing is that you can't do that. It wasn't fair. I brought in good quality people, but I wasn't able to lead them. And the thing is what happened was everybody just, what I felt, we weren't cohesive enough as a team. So what I realized is I need to work on myself first. And until I'm whole, I can't lead anyone because their income is dependent on me. So I set everybody up with bad habits. I set a bad precedence for myself. And then what I decided in April is I just need to cut bait, start from scratch. It was a good choice for everyone that was in it. No one lost money. You know what I mean? Everybody got shifted into other places. But you know what? I really think it was the smart play. And now I'm trying to rebuild it strategically. I'm not just hiring the first person because I need help. Because when you come from what do they call it? From a place of scarcity rather than abundance. I know that sounds corny. It's like, you don't hire just for the sake of hiring. You need to find that right fit. And I'm not hiring anybody till I find that right fit. And right now I'm looking for an operations manager, an in-house ISA, and a lead buyer specialist. What I have is my wife's my part-time assistant. I have a listing coordinator / transaction coordinator who's in Pennsylvania. And I have 2 virtual ISAs. That's what my team looks like right now.
Yeah, love it, man. So with you, because you've got a virtual assistant and 2 virtual ISAs,
Mm-hmm.
what type of systems do you have in place to inspect what you expect? Because a lot of people struggle with that, and I don't think the issue is because it's virtual. It's just they don't have the right systems in place to be monitoring them and being able to empower them in the right manner. So what does that look like? Like, how can you ensure they're doing their job? How are you inspecting what you expect with those virtual employees?
Well, 2 things. One, with Seize the Market, their dialer, it records every single one of their phone calls. So I go listen. Anything that's over a minute long, I listen to their phone calls. It times the exact amount of time they're on the dialer. It shows exactly the amount of contacts that they're making. So I know exactly what they're doing on a minute-by-minute basis. I follow up with them. But also the company that I'm using Virtual People Solutions in Nicaragua. What I love, Jasmine Ramirez, she's the person who owns the company. She holds these people accountable to a higher level. I won't mention any other companies that are out there, but this is the 4th company that I'm on. And what's great about Jasmine is she personally trains all these people. So I don't have to deal with my ISA unless I want to. If there's any issues, I go directly to her and she takes care of it all for me. So it's pretty much a very nice hands-off program. I'm probably going to be adding on a 3rd shortly.
So what's the reason then for the in-house ISA that you're looking for now?
The thing is, I'm in New York, okay? So the cost of living here, when you say about brevity, the reason I have to be very brief is because people don't want to listen to you. And the only concern with an in-house ISA, to hire that right person, that's about a $50,000 to $60,000 a year job here. Because that's how you want a top-level operations manager, you're paying $25 an hour for that person. So what I want is there's no way to not sound cocky when I say this. I'm fucking awesome on the phone. And I want to find that right person that I can train to sit right beside me, because right now my business is predicated on my production. And it can't always be predicated, because eventually I want to do something different and I can't sit on the phone 2 to 3 hours a day. So I need to find that person that can do that.
Yeah, love it, dude. Love it, man. So recently, I don't say recently, but you also started this Facebook group, dude, where you got like 22,000 or whatever. I mean, you got a massive amount of real estate agents from all over the planet that are in there. Talk to us about that, man. What you started that? What happens in there? Is that something that our listeners can go check out? Because I know that you stream a lot of your call sessions live that you do.
It's facebook.com/gotobjections. Or just if you type in lead gen scripts and objections, that's the name of the group. So I wish I could say there was some genius way that I came up with this, but it was like November before November, what would that have been? 2014. That point, my 3-year-old wasn't sleeping. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. You know how that is, right? The idea, the stuff we come up with when we're on no sleep. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, it would be really cool. Like someone was asking me role play partners. So I need a role play partner. And that is not what it sounds like. It's actually for scripting partners. All right. And then I created that. I'm like, it would be really cool if we had a place where someone can ask an objection and they just get 10 responses back. So I created lead gen scripts and objections. Next thing I know, 4 days later, I got 2,000 people in the group. And we're up to 22,000 people right now. And we really focus, like there's a lot of Facebook groups out there that focus on tons of different things that pretty much, in my opinion, some of them can be a little tedious to look at. But we like to keep ourselves high level, high minded. We focus on mindset, time management, lead gen scripts, and objection handling. Those are the only things that are allowed in the group. And we really like to do this at a high level. We really do. And then lately I've been streaming my call sessions live every day, pretty much at 8 o'clock in the morning, so people can watch me live cold calling.
Yep. So to watch you live, though, they need to be in the group, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah.
So all of you guys that are watching or listening, we'll have a link below where you can just click, request access into the group. Aaron can accept you, and you can watch the man himself do this shit live, dude.
It's fun. It's like I said, the reason I started doing that, there was no good reason behind it. I was having a bad day and I didn't want to pick up the phone. And I'm like, shoot, if I got 10 people watching me, I've got to be held accountable to a higher level. Now I've got like 2,000 people watching me, so I have to be on point. I love it. I absolutely love it. I love it. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, always on your A game, man. It's crazy what that little bit of added accountability does for us, man. So I love it, dude. So let's talk about change gears a little bit and go into your personal daily routine. Because I know people might hear that you work 8 to 4. But when you're working 8 to 4, dude, you're focused. You're not wasting. You're not the average person out there fucking sitting by the water cooler having wasted conversations, bitching about the market. Like, I'm sure you are laser focused in that time. So walk us on, what does a typical day look like from the second you wake up to the second you go to bed for you?
Well, here's what I'm going to say is you can agree. We're all creatures of habit. We all like habit. I don't care if you tell me you don't. But the thing is, I wake up now every morning at 4 o'clock. Between the hours of 4 and 4:30, I do my business, and I go make myself a cup of coffee. I check out fantasy football. What are you? You're from Michigan. You're football. What are you, Lions fan?
Dude, I'm just not a sports fan. So.
You're not a sport. Okay, I won't hold it against you. It's cool. So I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning between 4 and 4:30. I'm just checking out fantasy football, stuff like that. Between the hours of 4:30 to 6, I'm on the computer hacking away, getting some work done. Usually one of my kids wakes up. Maybe around 5:30, he's hanging out with me getting work done. I'm in the gym, which is a punching bag and a treadmill and a set of weights in my garage between 6 and 6:45. 6:45 to 7, I walk the dog. 7 to 7:15, I take a shower. I'm out of the house every day by 7:30. In the office by 7:45. On the phone by 8. Between 8 and 11, I'm making my phone calls. 11 and 1, I'm doing any administrative work, negotiations, anything like that. Then between 1 and 4 is when I run my appointments. And then between 4 and 5, I prepare for the next day, finish up any phone calls on the way back between, if I got to return anything. Then by 6 o'clock every day, my phone's shut off. I hang out with my family. My kids, the babies go to bed at 7. My son goes to bed at 8. I hang out with my wife till 9. I'm in bed by 10:30.
Love it. So what do you do to stay focused during that time? Because it's, okay, I'm doing these dials, but then most people get distracted because they're hearing this text message pop in or this Facebook message. Like, what do you do? How do you shut the rest of the world off? The statistic out there is the average corporate America worker is interrupted every 11 minutes, takes 7 minutes to recover from each interruption. So we piss away 30% of our day. So like, what do you do to create your environment to eliminate all that bullshit, to stay uber focused on those tasks on hand?
I shut it all down. My phone is off during lead generation time. I keep Facebook on, and because just in case my wife needs to reach me, she can reach me on Facebook Messenger and email. But my email shut down typically. My cell phone is shut down during lead generation time, and I'm focused. Because the thing is what I don't understand is how people aren't lead generating what they're doing with their time. I mean, with your business, you guys lead generate with every one of your businesses. You guys lead generate at a high level, right?
Yep.
And I mean, the thing is, without lead generation, you have no business. So the thing is people tell me they're scared to lead generate. They don't have the time. They don't want to. You're being selfish. So for me, I don't lead generate for myself. I lead generate for my wife and kids. I mean, that's the main reason I really do it. And I think once you figure out what your purpose is and your why and why you're doing things, you work a hell of a lot better. I know why I'm doing it. I'm not doing it for fun. Like I say, real estate is my career, but lead generation is my job. Your job is not meant to be fun. You just do it because you got to put food on the table.
Yep, I love that, brother. So I know you're a dude that is always looking at growing, right? All about your growth. I mean, do you have any top whether it's books or any type of course or whatever that looks like that you've taken that you highly recommend to our listeners that have had a massive impact, not just on your business but maybe your overall life?
Well, I mean, right now, I think, one of the best books I ever read, I'm Keller Williams, but, I think some of the books are phenomenal. And, the one thing, that was one book that totally changed my life when I saw Gary Keller speak. That really made a huge impact. Between that and The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, those are two of my all-time favorite books because it gives you an outline that we need to build around. Because, at least for you, you've got a system that you put in place where people can just buy it and they can do your system. Why should we reinvent the wheel? Why? If I can pay you $1,000 to get every system that you did, what are you guys selling 700 houses a year? 900? What the hell? Just do some crazy amount. It's like, that's what I'm saying is like, you do that. Why would I want to reinvent the wheel when I can just follow what other successful people have done? So that's really where I've tried creating my own thing, but creating your own thing doesn't always work.
Right. Yep. No, I love it, man. So, again, I know we kind of hit on this earlier, but it's so easy for entrepreneurs. A lot of times we talk about our successes, but very rarely do we talk about our failures, right? Mm-hmm. So, and I hate the word failure because they're our best learning experiences, best growth experiences. But what have been, whether it's in Chicago, New York, what were some of the biggest failures, some of the best learning experiences that you've encountered that you had to overcome that truly define you to the man that you are today?
Oh, man, learning experiences, failures. Oh, I'm going to go with something that just happened to me. I'm going to share something recently that happened to me. All right. So this is over the last couple of months. I thought when was it? It was April. I had one of my best months ever. I took 12 listings, which was like $7 million in business. I sold, it must have been 7 houses. Keep in mind, I'm in a higher price point area and was figuring an average of $500,000. And I was on cloud 9, absolute cloud 9. Like you couldn't phase me for the world. Come May, half of those listings decided they didn't want to sell the property anymore, and 7 out of my 10 deals fell apart. So it's one of those things, and I stopped working for just a little bit of time. And I think that's some of the biggest learning experiences is because what happens is you get comfortable. And once you hit that level of success, you're like, boom, I got it. But it's not about hitting that level of success. It's about repeating that level of success over and over and over again, because you can't get ever complacent, because the moment you stop working is the moment that you stop producing, and you can't do that to yourself or your family. And I think that really, really kicked me in the balls big time, because I was on cloud 9, man, and it really, really brought me down to reality. Now this month I've taken 7 listings so far. I got 5 that are sold that are under contract, and I'm humble about the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so we find, man, that and this is kind of, I guess, the place that maybe you were at in Chicago, but we find that good becomes the worst enemy to greatness. It's so easy to get complacent where things are good enough to not go out there and strive for more. And we had a pretty deep conversation before we hit the record button, about some of your future plans. I know you're a dude that has some massive goals,
Yep.
but it'd be very easy for you to be like, dude, I'm good. I'm good with my team that I have right now. I'm making some bank right now. Let me just continue what I'm doing, work 8 to 4, and just settle for good enough. What personally drives you and keeps you leveling up and not settling for good enough?
My kids and my wife. I have a bigger purpose than myself. I mean, I don't like waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't. I don't like coming in and making phone calls every day, but I like what it lets my kids do and what it lets my wife do. I always say the reason I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning is so my wife doesn't have to and my kids can choose to if they want to. And I want to give them the life that I didn't have. And it's like my why, like, that's the reason I do everything, and nothing can hold me back from that because I want them to have everything that I couldn't and to hit that level. And all I have to do if I'm having a bad day, I look at a picture of my children and it pushes me through it. And if you're one of those people that's not doing something, you just haven't found your why. And when I say why, it's not like the surface why. You can't tell me what your why is. It's the one that when you speak about it, you almost start crying because it hurts you that much because it's really important. And that's what gets me is my why. I know my why, and there's nothing that's going to stop me from getting it.
Yeah, love it, man. So real quick, where's the best? I know we talked about your Facebook link there, but where's the best place? Because I really want our listeners, man, to go check your stuff out, right? I don't know if you have any other websites to check out, but if somebody wants to learn more about you, follow you at a higher level, I know you got some big plans, big things in the works that I would encourage all of our listeners to follow you so they can see what's to come, dude, because it's some pretty epic stuff. I know you can't talk about it right now, but it's something that you guys don't want to miss out on. So what's the best place, Aaron, to stay in touch with you, to keep following you? If somebody wants to reach out, maybe has a question for you, to get in touch with you, or shit, if somebody has a referral in your area in New York that they want to send you.
Honestly, I mean, what I'll say is go to Facebook. Follow me on Facebook. That's one of the best ways to get out to me. I'm on that thing. It's ridiculous. I feel like I'm on that thing like a 16-year-old girl on Snapchat. But if you go there, go to my Facebook page, go to facebook.com/gotobjections or just type in lead gen scripts and objections. You can spell my last name Wittenstein. But follow me on Facebook, message me. I'm also doing a little bit of consulting as well. I got 2 openings available this month if anybody's interested. But Facebook, man, is the best way.
Yep, badass, dude. So, and I think I already know the answer to this because you just recently did it. But let's say something happens, man. You get totally wiped out financially, right? So you're starting from scratch, no team, starting 100% from scratch. Your health's good, your family's good, but you're having to rebuild your business. What's the first thing or two you'd immediately go out there to start doing to rebuild what you built?
Expires and FSBOs, baby. That's it. I'm going to sit on the phone for 14 hours a day and call and call and call and call and call. And that's it. You'll stumble across success easily if you do it. You don't have to be the best, just the most consistent.
Yep. So what would be one tip? Because it's easy for people to get motivated, but it's very difficult to stay motivated, especially when you're doing these dials and you're getting rejected. What's the one tip? Because you got people, they know the script, they've just been on here, dude. They've heard your script. There's no secret sauce to this shit. Like what's like the one? I hate the word secret, but like maybe that one tip or piece of advice that you give them to make sure that they don't quit, so they keep pushing on these scripts.
Cut yourself some slack. Because the thing is stop being so hard on yourself, because what happens is we beat ourselves up more than anybody else can. The reality of it, when you start, you are going to suck. You're going to be really, really bad. And they're going to go from sucky to kind of sucky to just suck to below average to kind of below average. And you may get no better than average. But as long as you are consistently doing it, you will stumble your way across success. So my thing is quit being so hard on yourself. Cut yourself some slack.
Yeah, love it, man, love it. So, I started this podcast, dude, about a year ago, right? Because I got so sick and tired of listening to all these quote-unquote gurus, that exist out there. I mean, we were talking about this before, but there's a lot of these people, these coaches, these trainers, these gurus, not saying that they don't have some good advice, but most of these people have never done it. It's like I would literally go to a YouTube class teaching us how to build up a YouTube channel, and I look on their channel and they have like 3 subscribers. I mean, it's just it's the insane world that we live in. So I'm like, let me start a platform, where I interview straight up doers, dudes like yourself, No quote unquote gurus that are operating from smokes and mirrors, but the straight up doers that are in the trenches every day, that are out there building amazing, epic businesses. And our listeners right now are listening because they want to go out there and create that same thing for themselves, right? They want to go out there and create an amazing life for themselves and for their families. With that being said, man, any last pieces of words, advice, inspiration, motivation they'd like to leave our listeners with so they can go out there and create that amazing life that they want and they truly deserve?
What I'm going to say is I'm going to repeat what I said again, is you got to figure out why you're doing this. Because if you're not successful, the reason I can tell you're not successful is you don't know why you're doing this. And the thing is, you've got to figure out that why. And the moment you figure out that why, that deep down why, that one that's like in your fucking gut that you can't speak about, when you figure that out, success is just a product of knowing that, because you're working for something better. And the thing is, you realize that when you're selfish if you're not doing it when you know that. And that's the reality of it. You got to figure out what that is, and just work just work smart, work your ass off. I don't know.
Yep, I love it, man. Powerful.
Profound words from a bald guy.
I dig it, man. I love it. So, to our listeners, I know I have a podcast with this, you guys, but information without implementation is the start of delusion, right? You got to take that information, go out there and implement, take massive action on the information that you receive, and that creates power in your world. So, you guys, Aaron dropped so many just amazing nuggets, so much amazing information that can help you go out there and kick ass at a massive level in your real estate business. And the cool thing about this, other than, buying Espresso Agent at $159 a month or Vulcan that's maybe $300 a month, doesn't cost you any money. Your ROI can be massive. So take what Aaron taught you today, go out there and implement and create that power that you want in your world. And Aaron, it's been a massive honor, bro. I know how busy you are. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to be here, dude. It's been awesome.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. And I like you. I'm going to stay in touch with this guy. I like this guy. I like this guy.
Eagles got to soar together, baby.
There we go, man. There we go. Thank you again, man. And everybody, just go out there, do what you got to do. Go make some money.
Yep. And you guys go out and click on the links right now. We'll have links below, whether you're listening to this or watching this, links below to go stay in touch with Aaron, join his Facebook group. And I'll probably see you guys inside the group. And we'll see you next time. Peace out.
Adios.